All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and if you're here, it's because you're ready to reduce stress, burn stubborn fat, and get your body working with you instead of against you. On this podcast, we're all about simple, no BS strategies for fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle. This way, you can feel strong, confident, and in control. I'll give you the tools, mindset shifts, and habits to help you look and feel your best without spending hours in the gym or stressing over every single meal. Now, let's get into it. All right, welcome back. And in this episode, I'm going to break down the top 4 causes that are keeping you exhausted during the day, but your brain wired during the nighttime. So I get these questions a lot. Sean, I am super tired. I can't function throughout the day. My eyelids are closing. But somehow when it's time for bed, my mind is racing. I'm trying to solve problems and I just can't quite get to sleep. And this affects your whole entire day, your whole entire life. Because you can't function properly if you're exhausted and you're frustrated because you can't sleep. So now your body's operating off of adrenaline, and then that just causes a spiral of decline in health, decline in your ability to stay calm and collected during life, and you're just frustrated. You're over it because your body needs deep, restful sleep. So if you're exhausted all day, you're feeling like you're dragging, you're counting down the time until bedtime, and then the second your head hits the pillow, your brain turns on, or you fall asleep, but then you're up at 2 or 3 a.m. every single night and you can't fall back asleep. That's what we're going to break down today. I'm going to break down why this happens, what to do first, and why, protecting your afternoon and morning time, that wind down routine and that morning routine is so crucial to your success. And we're going to do it without turning it into a second job, right? Because we don't want to busy our lives up even more. Now, this is important to talk about because it's not, like I said, it's not just annoying. It affects everything, right? It impacts your cravings, your mood, your motivation, your exercise and workouts, your ability to be patient. It affects you holding on to belly weight. And most importantly, it affects your confidence. Because if you're not well rested, if you're beat down tired, and this cycle goes on for forever, you're not going to come into the day with a high head of steam and a lot of gusto and enthusiasm, right? And a lot of women are getting dismissed with it's just stress or it's just aging, which is not helping the problem. So today we're going to break this down. So for the most part, I work with mainly women, right? Peri and postmenopausal women who are going through this exact thing. And this wired but tired pattern is one of the most common things that I hear when I talk to these women about their symptoms and what's going on in their life. So what we're going to actually do is break this down into a few different segments. We're going to break down what it is, what it means, what are the causes, and then what you can do about it. So if you stay till the end, we're going to talk about the exact steps that you can take today to incorporate a better routine and a better mindset to fix this problem, right? It's not a quick fix, but it's going to take steps in the right direction. So what does tired but wired even actually mean, right? So there's usually 3 versions of what you're experiencing, and you might be one of these versions. So version 1 is you're exhausted during the day, but you can't fall asleep. Version 2 is you can fall asleep, but then you wake up between 1 and 3 a.m. And version 3 is you get light sleep with vivid dreams and you wake up feeling unrested. So you might fall into one or multiple of those categories depending on, what's going on internally, but that's kind of like what I typically see, those 3 versions of this wired but tired situation. Now, the big idea here is that your body can be tired, but your nervous system can still be turned on, right? Like you're drained physically, but you're alert. And that usually means is that the stress chemistry going on in your body is running your day. Like for you to operate during work and whatever you have going on during the day, that's the stress chemistry like cortisol and adrenaline, and it doesn't magically stop at night. It's not just going to turn off and say, hey, we're done for the day. So think about it like this, right? It's like your body is out of battery, right? But the charger is broken. So you lay down and nothing actually changes. So you've drained your batteries and you don't have the proper tools and routines to recharge the battery. So you get caught into this loop of this wired but tired. Now, as promised, I'm going to go through the top reason that I see that causes this to women in midlife. Now, cause number one is your stress load. And we're not just talking emotional stress here. We're talking your schedule is too demanding. You maybe are caretaking for elderly aging parents. Maybe your mental load is just overwhelmed, right? Or you have work pressure that is just too stimulating, or maybe you have a bunch of those. So that's a couple of things. Other things impacting your stress load is you could be under eating. Maybe you're not nourishing your body properly. You could be overtraining with your workouts. You're pushing too hard. You're doing intense workouts first thing in the morning, and it's stressing your body out. Because believe it or not, exercise is stress to the body. Although it's a good stress, it is still depleting your immune system and your vitality and your ability to restore energy. Another thing is caffeine. Maybe you're overdoing it with the caffeine. Even if you don't think you drink a lot of coffee, it could be causing an effect for you. Another thing causing stress, inflammation, right? That comes from the food that you eat, the reactions to it, that comes from a bunch of different things like alcohol, cigarettes. A lot of things cause inflammation on your body. You could have gut issues, right? If your gut is not happy and you have an imbalance in gut microbiota, right? Like if you have a bacteria in your gut that are unbalanced, excuse me for the word fart there. I was just trying to get my thoughts collected. But if your gut microbiome, is what I was trying to say, is unbalanced with the good and bad bacteria, that causes issues. If you're not digesting protein or fats properly, that causes gut issues. And lastly, you could have blood sugar swings. So all of those things that I just mentioned all equal stress on your body. So when I say stress, whether it's on social media, on here, or in person, we're not just talking about, oh my gosh, I got into a car accident, I'm stressed, or my boss is being overwhelming, I'm stressed. That's like different types of stress. But all that I just mentioned, like those 8 or 9 things, are all stress on your body. And guess what? Your body's counting that as stress, right? You can't determine how your body reacts to it. It's all stress. So that is one thing that is causing you to be wired but tired. Your system is not regulated with its energy. Cause number 2 is blood sugar instability. Now, in simple terms, what that means is you're not eating enough during the day. You have long gaps between your meals, or too long of gaps between your meals. You could have a dinner that was too light or too heavy and later in the day, like too late. You could be having alcohol and desserts late at night. And what happens is this creates blood sugar spikes and then blood sugar dips. And that can occur and trigger a cortisol and adrenaline spike during the nighttime. So if you wake up during the night and you have to pee, usually it's either a blood sugar spike or your liver detoxifying. It wakes you up, and by default, you just naturally had to pee. So the pee didn't wake you up. Your bladder didn't wake you up. It is a blood sugar dip in the middle of the night, which causes cortisol to rise. Then that wakes you up, and naturally, you just had to pee anyway, so you woke up and went to the bathroom. So that's cause number 2. Cause number 3 is caffeine timing and tolerance, because what you used to be able to tolerate as far as caffeine's concerned to metabolize it in your 30s can hit a little bit differently now. So even if you're only doing your morning coffee, that caffeine can linger on for hours and hours and even affect your bedtime. So some women are even more sensitive as their hormones are shifting. So in that peri menopausal phase, the caffeine can hit you a little bit stronger. Now, cause number 4 is light and phone stimulation. I know we're all addicted to our phones and we're scrolling and we have to see what's going on with everybody on social media, but guess what? It's impacting your ability to regulate your circadian rhythm and to get deep sleep. So bright lights at nighttime are just telling your brain it's daytime, because our brain runs on a circadian rhythm and it is used to the sun being the determinant of when it is light and dark out. We didn't have artificial lights when, back in the day, right? When humans were first on this earth, right? So our brains are signaled by the sun coming up to stimulate cortisol and other hormones to give us energy. And then at nighttime, when the sun goes down, you start to see those yellow, orange, and red hues in the sky and it's dimmer. That signals to our body to release melatonin and to get ready for sleep. But we have hijacked that whole system and we have bright lights on us, even in the nighttime, right? Overhead LED lights, we're watching TV and we're scrolling on our phone all at the same time. So that scrolling, right? You going through your phone is like you having multiple tabs open on your computer, but in your brain. So you've got multiple tabs on, the bright lights are at night, stimulating or not allowing melatonin to be stimulated. And that causes us to not be able to fall asleep and be wired and tired. And cause number 5 is your hormonal shifts and timing. So for the women who are in peri and postmenopause, the hormonal shifts that are happening with your estrogen, your progesterone are affecting your temperature regulation, your ability to regulate temperature. It's affecting your anxiety, heart palpitations, and those things all can contribute to waking up during the middle of the night and restless sleep. Hey, hope you're loving the episode so far. Thanks for spending some time with me. I got a quick favor to ask. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast because that's how I know you're getting value from the show. And this way, you never miss an episode. All right, now back to the show. So, with all that being said, I know that was kind of maybe overwhelming, but this doesn't mean that you're just doomed and you have to give up and you just need to quit or try a different approach. That just means that we need to figure out how to solve this for you personally and take steps towards that aren't overwhelming. Now, next, I want to break down a couple of the mistakes that I see people make. And we're only going to go over 3 that I wrote down. But the mistake number 1 is trying to fix the problem or fix this situation of sleeping with random supplements. Now, don't get me wrong. I love supplements. I recommend them to clients. I have seen success with a lot of good, properly chosen supplements based on the individual. But what I see a lot of times is you might see an ad on Instagram or you're scrolling on Amazon or whatever, and you see this thing that just says aids with sleep, and you try these random supplements, but you cannot out-supplement your nervous system that is never powered down, right? You need to work on that on a holistic level with your lifestyle choices, your habits, your schedule. All of that needs to come into play, and you can't just simply hack a supplement to make you fall asleep. It's not going to happen. Mistake number 2 is waiting until bedtime to fix your sleep. See, your sleep or the quality thereof starts in the morning, right? So your day sets up what happens at nighttime. So being able to establish a good morning routine is going to be vital to you actually falling asleep at nighttime. So you can't just wait until 9 p.m. to figure out all your problems and think you're just going to fall asleep. And then mistake number 3 is making your routine too complicated. Like I've said on here multiple times, I give you tips, I give you action steps. We're always going to talk about routines and habits and things that you can incorporate, but I will always reiterate that it's not always exactly for you, and you always need to simplify it so that you feel confident in taking those actions rather than just create some long laundry list of to-dos, and if you don't accomplish them, you feel like a failure. So if your routine is too complicated, it's going to feel like a project, and you're not going to stick with it. And that's not the goal, right? The goal isn't to be there as soon as we can and have this best, amazing routine and habits and you sleep perfectly in 2 days. It's not going to happen that way. You simply have to work through this problem one step at a time. And that comes from simplifying your whole entire situation. So what can you do about this, right? We kind of went over what are the problems? What might be causing it? What is the situation that we're dealing with? Now it comes down to action. Right? So let's kind of break down this into 3 parts. And then whether you take notes on this, whether you listen to this again, or you just feel like certain things are going to land with you, then take action on those. But again, don't think you're going to do all of this. I'm just breaking it down on the simple things that you can do right now to start moving in the right direction. So part 1 is your morning anchors. Like I said, in order to get good, deep, restful sleep, it starts in the morning. So in an ideal scenario, you get 5 to 10 minutes of morning sunlight. Now, maybe you wake up when it's dark out. Maybe whatever your excuse is. Maybe you don't have access to that. If you do, if you wake up and the sun is up, get 5 to 10 minutes of morning sunlight, whether that's by a window or going outside. If you don't have, let's say you wake up before the sun, turn on your lights, get some cold water on your face, and do the rest of the routine, right? Another thing you can do is move your body early, even if it's a walk, right? You don't have to go do a workout, but maybe get outside, go for a light walk, do some light stretching. Then cut off your caffeine. You have to figure out a time that works best for you. I would say try cutting it off by noon, and if you're really sensitive, maybe by 10 a.m. So maybe you have your 1 or 2 cups of coffee, but cut it off by noon, cut it off by 10 a.m. So that's the first thing you can do as some morning anchors to set your day on the right foot. Part 2 is to have stability during the daytime, right? So that would mean let's eat some protein earlier on in the day. Maybe within an hour of waking, or at least your first meal of the day is higher in protein. Then from there, you want to go at least 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours of eating, right? In between. You don't want to have larger gaps than 6 hours without food. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to eat every hour or every 2 hours. You just don't want to go gaps of 6 or more hours without eating food. Then you need to hydrate with minerals, right? In your water bottle, like I have right here. If you're watching this, I have my big jug. I put a pinch of mineral salt in there when I fill up. And that is enough to give me the trace minerals that my body needs to turn on my cells and get energy to the cells, right? And then the last thing for part 2 is to reduce the late afternoon stress spikes. So I know we're getting done work in the afternoon. There might be stressful things. And what you can do to reduce this is a 2-minute pause or just some breathing. Take some inhales through your nose, exhale through your mouth, right? Blow up that belly like a balloon. Take some deep, restful breaths. That is going to calm your nervous system down. So those are the daytime stability things you can do. Then part 3 is now your nighttime routine, your wind down for the night. So this is a few steps that I would suggest. Number 1 is to turn off your overhead lights or just dim your lights. There shouldn't be bright lights going on. Dim the lights. Then put your phone away or on the charger where it's out of reach. You do not need to be scrolling on your phone. You do not need to be answering emails. You do not need to be sending out text messages. You should have 30 minutes before bedtime where none of that is happening. I'm not saying you can't be on your phone at night. I just mean give yourself 30 minutes before it's time for bed to literally be off your phone completely. Trust me, you can do it. Then 60 seconds of breathing. So now your phone's away, you're not being stimulated. You can sit there and do that breathing technique that I was explaining, or multiple different ones. I would suggest just starting with a deep inhale through your nose, blowing up your stomach like a balloon, and then a sigh, exhale through the mouth. That's going to calm the nervous system down. Do that for 60 seconds. Then, if you have any thoughts on your brain, you can dump them onto paper, right? Whether that's an emotional thought, maybe that's an idea for work, maybe that's an idea for your business, just something you need to jot down. Put it on paper, get it out of your mind. And then the last thing is to have the same bedtime window as often as possible. Going to bed at the same time on a regular basis tells your body that's the time, right? Our body works on a routine, on schedules, and on patterns. So when you start to tell your body, hey, 9:30 p.m., we go to bed every night, it's going to naturally start to wind down prior to that to get ready for 9:30 bedtime. So those are all things that you can do. I would suggest listening to that again, writing some down. This way you can try out 1 or 2 of them in order to start progressing towards better sleep. Now, how to know what's actually driving your pattern. How to know what situation is causing your problem to happen, right? So you need to identify as one of these people. Do you crash after 2 p.m.? Do you wake up around the same time? Do you get cravings at night? Are you drinking caffeine past late morning? And are you scrolling in bed, right? Now you can pick one of these and figure out what is causing your situation to happen, right? Like if you're the person who's getting cravings at nighttime, that could mean that we didn't nourish the body enough. That could mean that you're not eating frequently enough and you're having a blood sugar dip. If you crash after 2 p.m., maybe you're staying up too late at nighttime. Maybe you're on your phone at nighttime. So these are all things that we can start to look at and identify on what your situation is and how to fix it, right? So just to wrap this up, remember that tired but wired usually means your system is running on stress chemistry. Like I said, it's not running on its normal circadian rhythm. It's just running off of adrenaline and cortisol. So we want to fix the rhythm first. And then if it's not improving, that's when we would go deeper into lab testing, supplements, and all of those other things. So remember, you're in control. Don't overwhelm yourself. Listen to all the steps that we went through and try to pick 1 or 2 and implement them into your life. And then step back and see how that felt. Did you sleep better? Were you able to get to sleep better? Did you have better energy in the day? Were you less tired? That's another big one. You don't always have to wake up and be super, super excited and jazzed up with energy. You could just be less tired, and that's an improvement in the right direction. So take action, acknowledge where you're at, look at the results from your body of energy, mental clarity, your cravings, right? All of those things should start to improve over time, and then you can add more into your routine or amplify what you're actually doing. Now, if you ever need help with any of these and it's just gotten out of control, you can message me. You can reach out directly to me on email, on social media. I would love to hear your questions and concerns and maybe help you with one of those, because I do work with women on an individual and group level to figure out what's going on with your labs, what's going on under the hood, so that these problems can be solved once and for good. But if not, that's okay. You can still participate in just taking action and improving your life. And if this message resonated with you, I just ask that you share it with a friend and take some action so you can get better one day at a time. I will see you guys next week. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me on today's episode. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If we're not connected on Instagram yet, let's change that. Hit me up at Sean Calhoun _. That's SEAN Calhoun _. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of the show, or if you got any questions about how to level up your health. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode.